In this chapter, we're going to focus on the following 10 key words: scrimp, indisposed, misdemeanor, pact, parch, substantial, flounder, inimitable, gala, and transmit. Let's start with the first key word, scrimp. Now, if you look at the picture, you can see this lady very happy, and there's this jar with coins and dollars. I guess that this picture has to do something with saving money, and so does the word scrimp that we have. But what does it exactly mean? Let's find out. Now, scrimp is a verb. If you scrimp on things, you live cheaply and spend as little money as possible. For example, scrimping on safety measures can be a false economy, because if you save on safety measures, you might pay a lot more in the long run if bad things happen. And synonyms for scrimp are the words economize, save, scrape, and limit. So the next time you remember this picture of this lady and the man saving money, remember the word scrimp and what it means. And now let's move to the next key word, indisposed. Now, if you look at this guy sitting in his bed, and he's obviously sick, maybe he has the flu or some other problem, but we can tell that he is sick and maybe he didn't go to work today or to university, whatever, because of this. But how does that relate to the word indisposed? Let's find out. Now, indisposed is an adjective. If you say that someone is indisposed, you mean that they are not available because they are ill or for a reason that you do not want to reveal. For example, the speaker was regrettably indisposed, is excused because he's ill or you just don't want to say. And synonyms for indisposed are the words ill, poorly, or sick. So the next time you remember the picture of this man in his bed, remember the word indisposed and what it means. And now let's move to the next key word, misdemeanor. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see that something is wrong. Although the picture is not that clear, but you can see that something is wrong and this boy in the picture is not doing something right. Maybe he is shoplifting. We can say that. But what if he is shoplifting? Can we call this a crime, a major crime? Maybe not. Maybe we can call it a misdemeanor. But what does misdemeanor mean? Let's find out. A misdemeanor is a countable noun. A misdemeanor is an act that some people consider to be wrong or unacceptable. For example, Paul appeared before the faculty to account for his various misdemeanors. These are bad acts, wrong acts, unacceptable, but they are not considered as crimes. A misdemeanor can be used in a different context. In the United States and other countries where the legal system distinguishes between very serious crimes and less serious ones, a misdemeanor is a less serious crime, and that is a law term. For example, under state law, it is a misdemeanor to possess a firearm on school premises, which is strange, actually outrageous, but in some states it is the law. It is considered a less serious crime. So the next time you remember the picture of this boy hurrying out of the shop, maybe because he stole something from the shop, remember the word misdemeanor and what it means. And now for the next key word, pact. If you look at the picture, you can see this firm handshake. Well, it could be just because these two people are greeting each other, or it could be something else. It could be to seal an agreement on something. Can we call this a pact? What does a pact mean? Let's find out. A pact is a countable noun. A pact is a formal agreement between two or more people, organizations, or governments to do a particular thing or to help each other. For example, Stalin signed a non-aggression pact with Nazi Germany in 1939. It's kind of a formal agreement. And synonyms for pact are the words agreement, contract, alliance, or treaty. So the next time you remember this picture with the firm handshake, remember the word pact and what it means. And now for the next key word, parch. Now, if you look at the picture, you can see that there is a desert. Even the tree we see to the right is almost a dead tree. So how does that relate to the word parch? Is it related to how dry this picture looks? Let's find out. Parch is a verb, and it means to deprive or be deprived of water or dry up. For example, we say the sun parches the fields, and it can be used usually in passive to have another meaning, like to make very thirsty. For example, I was parched after the sun, and that means I was very thirsty. So the next time you remember this picture of this desert and this almost dead tree, remember the word parch and what it means. And now for the next key word, substantial. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see we have here a great structure, and it seems to be so huge and big. And maybe substantial? But what does substantial mean? Let's find out. A substantial is an adjective. Substantial means large in amount or degree. For example, that is a very substantial improvement in the present situation, which means a very large improvement, a very big improvement. And synonyms for substantial are the words big, significant, considerable, and goodly. Now, substantial can also be used in a different context. A substantial building is large and strongly built, just like the one we saw in the picture. For example, those fortunate enough to have a fairly substantial property to sell. And synonyms for substantial in this context are the words solid, sound, sturdy, and strong. So the next time you remember the picture of this big structure, remember the word substantial and what it means. And now for the next key word, flounder. Now, if you look at the picture, you can see right away that we have a problem in this class. And obviously that the professor or the teacher flunked one of the students. The student failed. So how does that relate to the word flounder? Does flounder has a similar meaning? Let's find out. Flounder is a verb. If something is floundering, it has many problems and may soon fail completely. For example, what a pity that his career was left to flounder, or the economy was floundering. And synonyms for flounder in this context are the words falter, struggle, stall, and slow down. But flounder can also be used in a different context. If you say that someone is floundering, you are criticizing them for not making decisions or for not knowing what to say or do. And that is a negative word that shows disapproval. For example, the president is floundering, trying to get his campaign jump-started. And synonyms for flounder in this context are the words dither, struggle, blunder, or be confused. And finally, if you flounder in water or mud, you move in an uncontrolled way trying not to sink. For example, 3 men were floundering about in the water. And synonyms for flounder in this context are the words struggle, toss, thrash, and plunge. So the next time you remember this picture with the teacher and 2 students, one happy and the other is not so happy because she got an F, remember the word flounder and what it means. And now for the next key word, inimitable. Now, if you look at the picture, you can see that we have a group of people, most likely professionals in a company, but there is one person that stands out from the whole group. It is the lady in the yellow dress. You can see that everybody is looking at her with admiration. All of that is good, but how does that relate to the word inimitable? Let's find out. Inimitable is an adjective. You use inimitable to describe someone, especially a performer, when you like or admire them because of their special qualities. And this is a positive word that shows approval. For example, he makes his own point in his own inimitable way. And synonyms for inimitable are the words unique, unparalleled, unrivaled, and incomparable. So the next time you remember this picture with all this group of professionals and this lovely lady in the yellow dress, remember the word inimitable and what it means. And now for the next key word, gala. Now, if you look at the picture, we can see that it is taken from a kind of a restaurant, but it is not a normal restaurant. It looks like the chairs and tables were set there for a special occasion. Now, what does that have to do with the word gala? Let's find out. A gala is a countable noun. A gala is a special public celebration, entertainment, performance, or festival. For example, we can say a gala evening at the Royal Opera House. And synonyms for gala are the words festival, party, fete, or celebration. So the next time you remember this picture with the tables and chairs, remember the word gala and what it means. And now for the last key word in this chapter, transmit. Now, if you look at this picture, you can know right away that this is a tower that is used by telecommunication companies to transmit signals. Well, I already said that. Transmit signals. So is that the meaning of transmit? Is there more to it? Let's find out. Now, transmit is a verb. When radio and television programs, computer data, or other electronic messages are transmitted, they are sent from one place to another using wires, radio waves, or satellites. For example, the game was transmitted live in Spain and Italy. Or we can say the information is electronically transmitted to schools and colleges. A transmit can be used in a different context as well. If one person or animal transmits a disease to another, they have the disease and cause the other person or animal to have it. For example, mosquitoes that transmit disease to humans. Or there was no danger of transmitting the infection through operations. And synonyms for transmit are the words pass on, carry, spread, and communicate. And transmit can also be used in a different context. If you transmit an idea or feeling to someone else, you make them understand and share the idea or feeling. For example, she looked into my eyes like a mother attempting to transmit a painful message. Or he transmitted his keen enjoyment of singing to the audience. And finally, if an object or substance transmits something such as sound or electrical signals, the sound or signals are able to pass through it. For example, there was no vibration transmitted to the handles and the machine wasn't noisy either. So the next time you remember the picture of this tower, remember the word transmit and what it means. And that is all for this chapter.